So let's get to the elements that you are on stage, and it might be just investors, it might be all sorts of things. This is back to attention. You have this opportunity, 5 minutes, that you can get attention. And sometimes
think about how many times you saw boring pitches that you just started to grab your phone and
more than I can remember.
Okay, so most pitches are like this, unfortunately, because everyone tried to get into the same formula, which is not necessarily the best pitches. The best pitches will be those that are outside of this formula. And attention, as you say, grabbing the attention, grabbing the excitement is also about the delivery, which is something that, as we said again, not sure that it's something that is teachable. I think it comes with experience. So the more pitches you'll do, the better you'll become at your delivery, actually. But yeah, I think a good way to break it down to what I think should be the steps that you should include in it, and then we can discuss each and one of them. So I think that the first stage, you're going up on the stage, you are in front of people. The first thing you should do is introduce yourself. I think that shows confidence. Say who you are. Don't say my name is, say I am. It shows more confidence. Say that you are.
And I learned that from you. I'm Reza V is much stronger than my name is Reza V.
And I learned this from someone smart that I can recall right now. But yeah, it's more powerful. The phrasing is more powerful, and the entire stand, it put you on a different level. Say that you are the founder, the CEO, whatever it is that you want to say, and then, I mean, after that, go straight into some sort of a story that demonstrate your product. Now, this is the benefit of doing a full pitch on stage. You don't necessarily have to go through the traditional slide. This is the market. It's 2.5 billion, growing 30% year over year. Boring. No one cares. You can start with a story. You can give an example of the problem and solution through a real story. If you can do a real story, that's perfect. This is what I used to do. I used to tell a real story of the people using my product from their perspective. And it's super relatable and super easy to relate to, and also capture the audience attention straight off the bat. Saying your name is the introduction, but then you're going to story mode that demonstrate both of the problem and the solution and potentially the market. So you nail down these three aspects in the story part, which could be like a minute or a minute and a half. Again, something that you don't necessarily have the time to do on an elevator pitch. But now that you are on stage, you capture the attention with a story and show a real life example. That's super cool. And it's guaranteed to generate way more interest than just going and showing a bunch of data on slides behind you, and you lose people just like
right
this.
away. And usually, isn't it that data is the support element after your story? People just dump in data on slide number 2, and it's the worst thing when you say the market size is this amount. It's just like, why? Like it doesn't mean anything.
Absolutely.
And one of the misconception I see people do is when we talk about story, people think it's their story. It's not necessarily you as a founder. It could be if you are the target demographic. So you came across the challenge. If not, you can adapt to, let's meet Bob. Bob is your persona. Bob does XYZ. With our product, it goes to like a real story.
This could be a good example for people who doesn't have a real story. They can, create a persona, do that. Okay. That's better than nothing. If you have a real story, use that. That's the best thing, because even your body language, when you are telling a real story, it's easier, it's more relatable. People can tell if you're doing, this is Bob, a fake persona, that's okay if you don't really have any story. And that's like
even filler. Better than that in between is an actual customer of yours that you can use as the story.
This is what I'm referring to when I say a story. It could be something that you have done. It could be a customer. It doesn't matter. In this real story, you can include all of the steps, the problem that X encountered, the solution he went through your product. And then it's a good segue to your product slide. And then you can if you can do a demo, or even, not like a full hardcore demo, just the core elements in a demo. I used to do a live call on stage.
Nice.
But, that's kind of risky because 50% of the time you have technical issues. The Apple TV is not working, and I have those kind of fail on stage as well, and you have to be ready for it. I was cool with it at some point, but I stopped doing it in some cases when I was testing and see that the technology is not going to work.
I had one time that I tapped the card's not working, and I was like, shit.
So what did you do?
I think I tapped it again at work, but I was prepared. If it doesn't work, I opened the browser on my profile and pretend that the card opened it instead of me by hand. But I had my profile ready to kind of show that.
That's a good plan B though. So you can do this. This is a bit more risky, and you have to be prepared for the technical part not to work. Not because of your product necessarily. Maybe
so many things.
The projector that they use.
Come on, like even Steve Jobs had problem because of everybody on Wi-Fi, and iPhone 4 couldn't load the web browser, and he asked everybody to shut down their Wi-Fi. This happens.
Even recently, I think in the latest iPhone, not the latest, live one, they had some technical issues.
So in bracket, I'm going to put this. If you encounter, this is something I learned from a public speaker, one professional. If you encounter difficulties, especially with the tech, in my event, if you remember, the slide wasn't working. When you encounter something, remember, it's not your problem. It's not the audience's problem. You don't need to make them feel uncomfortable. Be relaxed. Take a step back. It's okay.
Joke about it.
It's the worst thing when you're on stage and say, "Oh, it's not working." Oh, like get agitated because the audience get feed off of you. So be relaxed. Take your time. Reset. Do it again.
Yeah. So then, after you told your story and you show your product, a demo, it could be a live demo, it could be a not live demo, it could be a couple of slides that show the core value of it. You have to move on to your achievements and metrics. And again, don't get too in depth and don't get too data analytics on the board. Get only a few of the metrics that you are proud of, a few of the achievements, go through them, explain each one of them. Don't put a bunch of numbers on the slide and start, drilling down. Put 3-4 data points, talk about them, why it's exciting.
I'm sure every company or every product or services has KPIs that matter more than other ones. Be careful. That there are KPIs that matter more, so you can see what numbers would be better to put on.
And numbers that you can explain that will make sense with whatever you said before. So make sure that you only put those numbers in and not everything you got. We know you may have more, but that's fine. Just put the most important one. And then I would say you can go into the team part. Now, the entire thing, just for context, I'm talking about a 5-minute pitch in total. So even if you are asked to do a 10-minute pitch, I would try to bring it to around 5-6
and
minutes.
As you said before the episode, we were discussing this. If they ask for 5 minutes, do 3 or 4.
Prepare to 3, exactly.
Yeah,
take a couple of minutes off. Be sure that you can deliver it in time. And I really like the Q&A part because this is the most natural it becomes, and really I enjoy it. I think it's a fun part of it. I also enjoy the pitch, but it's something that and
Q&A is where you realize what is the most important element of the pitch, and you're like, oh, this is the common question I keep getting asked. Let me put it in my slide.
And the fact that people are asking a question is a good signal. It's not a bad signal that you missed out on some, because
they're interested.
You cannot cover everything.
They're engaged.
So going back, team slide. Why are you and your team the right people to attack this problem? Experience. Again, this is a slide that I will probably do 20-second maximum. I wouldn't go and start talking about the entire history of each one of the team members. I don't see any value in that. A team slide, and of course, you can, if you have other things that are important for you to mention, make sure you put them over there. You already mentioned your achievements, some KPIs, some traction data. and finish with the ask. What are you asking the audience for? Are the audience are investors and you're doing a funding round? Are there clients in your audience, potential clients in the audience that you are looking to partner with, potential partnerships, whatever it is that you are looking for? Make sure to mention that, because this is your call to action in the end of your pitch.
So let's recap. The whole point of a pitch like that, whether it's 5 minutes or 10 minutes, correct me if I'm wrong. The whole point is, if it flows nicely, you introduce yourself, then you start telling about your idea or the problem solution, the product, and get them into that story of what it is. Once they are there, they say, this is a good idea. Then you move on to the metrics, and enough metrics to tell them there is a market out there. This idea is not only good, but there are people out there that want it. Then you slowly go to, okay, now we establish it's a good idea, people want it, we are the right people for doing this.
By the way, also in the market part, when you incorporate it into your story, you could mention a couple of market metrics. That's fine. You could mention the market is 2 billion, but that took me 1 second to mention it.
1 second. Imagine like I say, here's my story, and there are 10 million people just like me out there waiting for this.
That's it. You cover the market for that pitch. Now in the Q&A, some of the investors, some of the people might want to go deeper on the market. You should be prepared for that. But the point of, spending over, let's say 20 minutes maximum on your market when you're pitching for 5 minutes maximum, I think you're losing a lot of other opportunities. So the opportunity cost, again, is not talking about something else and capturing the audience.
So if you answer these 3 questions, the idea is good, there is a market out there, and then you say you are the right team to execute on it.
And also some achievements.
Some achievement, those would help you build trust and build your ask. And then at the end, depending on your ask, your pitch might slightly differ, but I feel like whether it's partnership or investor or, any of those, it's the same pitch. It's the essence of it doesn't change.
You could alter your story a little bit to fit the audience and the narrative, but I mean, it should be about 95% the same. Yeah, for sure.